We begin with President Akufo-Addo, who has submitted to the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin, the names of his deputy ministerial nominees for Parliament's approval. The list, which is replete with parliamentarians, also has persons who have served in the president's first term, including former National Petroleum Authority boss Hassan Tampuli, former Deputy Energy Minister Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, and former Deputy Information Minister Nana Dokia Isiama Ejay, among others. President Akufo-Addo said he is hopeful that just as was done for his ministers, Parliament will on a bipartisan basis expedite the approval of his deputy ministerial nominees so they can join the government forthwith and assist in the delivery of his mandate for his second term in office. Let's take a quick look at the list. Right, so we'll begin with Ministry of State at the Ministry of Finance. Minister of State at Ministry of Finance, Charles Edu-Buahin. Now, he was former Deputy Finance Minister. He was also the President's representative at the Finance Ministry when the substantive minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, flew to the United States because he was sick. We move to actual deputy ministers now. At the Finance Ministry, there's Honorable Abna Osei-Asare, MP for Etiwa West, who will retain her position as Deputy Finance Minister if approved. John Ampontia Kuma, former Chief Executive of the National Entrepreneurial and Innovation Plan, NEIP, he moves to the Ministry of Finance as Deputy Minister. The Ministry of, so that's one less Deputy Minister for Finance. Remember, there used to be three. It was Charles Edu-Buahin, Abna Osei-Asare, and Kweku Kwating, who is now Chair of the Finance Committee of Parliament. Trade and Industry, three deputies very quickly: Herbert Kwapa, Michael Otribefi, MP, Nana Dokia Isiama Ejay, MP, who's moving from the Information Ministry to the Trade and Industry Ministry. Michael Otribefi, first timer in Parliament. Energy Ministry, three deputies: Mohammed Amin Adam, Oreku Edu William, both second timers there. Andrew Ejapa Mesa goes there now. Food and Agriculture, Yao Frimpong Ado, MP, Mohammed Hardy Tufero, MP. Education has Reverend John Intim Fojo, who's an MP, and Gifty Chum Ampofo, who's also a member of Parliament. Right, Health has Tina Gifty Mensah staying in that position as Deputy Minister. Honorable Mahama Asei Seini, newcomer in there. Benito Owosubio also keeps his job as Deputy Land and Natural Resources Minister. George Mekuduka joins him there in that role. He's Member of Parliament for Takwa Nswaim, former board chair of the Minerals Innovation of the MIIP. Now, MIIF. Roads and Highways has two deputy ministers, Stephen Jalula and Mavis Nkansa Buedu. Hassan Tampuli, former NPA boss, moves to Transport Ministry as deputy. And Frederick Obing Adom joins him there. Okay, the rest of these ministries have one deputy each. Defense, Kofi Amankwa-Menu, replacing Derek Ojo, Major retired. Nana Eya Kwanta is at Interior. Amat Poma Boating is at Communications and Digitization. A bit of a surprise there, was tipped to go to the Damka Institute's boss, who is Richard Ahiagba. Abdullahi Abanga, MP, is going to Works and Housing, where he will join the minister and a Ministry of State, Frida Prempe. And Moses Enim is at Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, supporting Mavis Hawa Kumsin. Kwekwa Sante Boating is a Railway Development. He deputizes the former Energy Minister, John Peter Amewu. Amidu Isahaku Chenia replaces Patrick Buama as Sanitation and Water Resources Minister. Mark Okreku Mante moves to the Tourism, Arts and Culture Ministry. He is entering government for his first time. Mark Okreku Mante there. Honorable Lariba Zuwera Abudu is the Deputy Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection. Bright Rekubebe keeps his job as Employment and Labor Relations Minister. Fatimatu Abubakar, another newcomer to the executive arm of government, well, I should say, to a ministerial position, Deputy Information Minister. Right, we'll go to Elton Brobe, but Honorable Evans Opoku Bobie is Deputy Youth and Sports Minister. Elton, first of all, this list was expected yesterday. We understand that there was still consultation up to the time it was released. How tight is this?
Well, I don't think much changed from what we told our viewers and our listeners yesterday. I mean, basically, about 99% of what we said yesterday is what we are witnessing this very moment. And so, nothing much has changed. Just that there are still some few areas that we will need clarity on, especially Ministry of Chieftaincy and Culture. Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology is not mentioned in this particular, it's not mentioned in this particular list that we have. Is it oversight or government is still consulting on the name to be named as deputy ministers for environment as well as chieftaincy and culture? These are the ministries that currently does not appear on the list that we have been told right now. You also mentioned Fatih Abubakar, who is a deputy minister for information. He's not actually new in government. Currently, until this appointment, she was a deputy director of communications at the presidency. So she's moved from the Jubilee House now to the ministries to work. So Daniel, nothing much has changed. I told you on the post yesterday that.
Now, Elton, you mentioned that chieftaincy, agriculture and environment, science, technology and innovation are not mentioned. Could it be that government is going to treat these ministries like the regional ministries, because we know that the regional ministries will not have deputies? I'm asking this because the president said he will appoint 85 ministers in total in that release before the ministerial list came out. This list brings the total number of ministers to 86. Could it be that we are going to see this number of ministers and no more?
Yes, so that is a question I put to the communication and the House, whether the ministries that we don't see on the paper, is it the case that they are not going to have deputy ministers because the information was that only the regional ministers would not be given, would not have deputy ministers? Now, I'm just to get answer to this particular question, because what is mentioned is chieftaincy and culture as well as environment. It doesn't appear on this particular paper, and I'm waiting to hear the response of government related, whether it's an oversight or it's just that the president does not intend to send a deputy minister to the chieftaincy as well as the environment. But overall, these were the names that we mentioned on the post yesterday. So it is not surprising, even though we have some new names that are making entry into government for the very first time. Marco Kukumanti, Alfred Chiayevwa, who currently is a private legal practitioner in the Bonahavo capital, Sudan, and he will be working with the Attorney General, Godfrey Yeboah, together with also another entry into government, Diana Hasuna-Badapa, currently lectures in law at GIMPA. So these are new individuals, and for the first time we have the Office of the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, without any representation from Parliament. Waiting to see how they'll be able to conduct business on the floor relating to issues relating to the Attorney General, Minister of Justice. The reason why you have so many deputy ministers from Parliament is that when you have a situation where ministers cannot avail themselves before the House to answer questions, to let papers, to help in discussions on the floor, deputy ministers, by the fact that they are members of Parliament, can and the sign orders allow, once the majority leader is able to get the speaker's approval, the deputy ministers can stand in place of these ministers that may not be available to work. Now, when you have a deputy minister who is not a member of Parliament, it's always difficult getting the speaker's attention or getting the speaker's approval to allow such individuals to transact business on behalf of their respective ministers, because of the cordiality between certain MPs and the fact that those senators also deputy ministers, it's always easy to get through. But when we have a non-MP conducting business on the floor in the absence of a substantive minister, it's always difficult. So that's become, in practice, usually deputy ministers, majority leaders have always been given sometimes 70% quota in the selection of deputy ministers for the president. It looks like in the second term of the President Akufo-Addo administration, the reason why this particularly delayed was the fact that there were so many competing demands from the regions, from the party, from Parliament, and from government itself to get people through. The reasons we are very much unclear. And also more particularly when you have 137 members on both sides of the House, and you will require loyalty above all others in helping forceful government agenda on the floor. When MPs feel unhappy with the selection, and if they carry that anger into how they conduct themselves on the floor, then you are likely to see a situation where the coming days will be very difficult in terms of getting government to prosecute the business on the floor.
On that point, Elton, back of the envelope calculations show that we have 57 ministers in total, deputy and substantive, who will be from Parliament out of the total number of 86. Do you think that this could affect their work in Parliament, considering how, like you just mentioned, we have 138 on the side of the majority, including the independent MP, and 137 on the side of the minority?
So, Daniel, I'm coming to you live from Parliament because I'm covering another program. Now, the program I'm covering, the chairperson on this committee in the first term of President Akufo-Addo's administration was a deputy minister. Now, he told me privately that he was called by the president and was made to understand that because of the way the parliamentary election went, there was a need for government to have sitting members of parliament constantly in the House to help in the prosecution of government business. So for that reason, he was not going to be given the opportunity of a deputy minister in the second term. And then he was given chairperson of a committee. Now, you have also some people who are deputy ministers, they have again been renominated for same ministry or different ministries. So for those who were called and were first upon to accept the fact that they would no longer serve in government as deputy ministers, but they see their colleagues serving in the same capacity as that person was in the first term of the president for the administration. How is this going to impact on how the person conduct themselves on the floor? And I'll tell you for sure, the MPP has a lot of work to do to get their members in line to help in the business of President Akufo-Addo, especially in Parliament. And if the election of the Speaker, if the passage of the budget, which eventually had to be decided on by secret ballots executives, but then clearly the party has a lot of work to do to get their members to back the president's agenda. And starting with the deputy ministers list, it looks like there's more work to be done.
Elton Broby, thank you very much for joining us. But an interesting observation will be that there are now 3 persons who used to occupy deputy ministerial positions and are now occupying substantive ministerial positions. First of all, of course, being Dr. Yao Educhum, who is the only person to have been promoted within his ministry. But Joseph Kujo has been moved from Deputy Energy Minister to Minister for Public Enterprises, and Charles Edubuahin was Deputy Minister for Finance and is now Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance.